So we will continue from page 8 actually. I just wanted to be two different paths in two different videos. Uh, what says Pa? You mean you tell me I've got germs on my teeth? Yani he never thought about that there are germs on his teeth. Yani what does it mean? It means maybe he never used like toothbrushes. He never cleaned his teeth. So Professor Herbert, what he said, the same kind as we might be able to find in a living black snake if we dissect it. So there are germs on our teeth as well as we have it in a black snake. But I'm still his David's father, Pa, Luster, does not believe him. What he means, I don't mean to dispute your word. Look, actually here we see that Professor Luster, he is trying to show respect to Professor Herbert. He doesn't want to directly tell him you are wrong or I don't believe you. What he said before, I don't mean to dispute your words. I don't mean to tell you that your words are wrong or you are totally wrong, you're completely some kind of thing like that. What he said, I don't believe it. I don't believe I have germs on my teeth. Yani it's a kind of showing respect to Professor Herbert. So look how he was changed when he started speaking with Professor Herbert up to now. At first, he showed his gun. He threatened him by killing him. And now, how in a respectful way he tries to tell him that I don't believe what you tell, what you say, Annie. And of course, Professor Herbert told him, you stay with me today, I will show you. He took him to go through the school and actually he wants to show him a lot of things that they may change his mind. I'll sure stay with you. So late also his David's father decided to stay to see like the germs or the things that Professor wants to show him. They went out actually. The bell rang. School took up. I saw the students when they marched in the schoolhouse. Look at Pa. They would grin and punch each other. Pa just stood and watched them pass in at the school door. Two long lines marched in the house. The boys and girls were clean and well dressed. So when the students, the school boys and girls, they marched into the classes, some of them when they looked at David's father and they laughed and they like Green actually is laughing and punching each other just to tell his friend, just look that man, because David's father, yani he was like he had an unusual face, or let's say dressing and faces and body, as we in that situation, yani in a school. So they punched each other and they laughed. What this guy is doing here actually. So here we have a description of David's father, Luster. Pa stood over in the schoolyard under a leafless elm. In his sheepskin coat, his big boots laced in front with buckskin, and his heavy socks stuck above his boots tops. Pa's overall legs were baggy and wrinkled between his coats and boots tops. His blue work shirt showed at the collar. His big black hot, showed his gray, streaked black hair. His face was hard and weather-tanned to the color of a ripe photo blade. His hands, his hands were big and gnarled, like the roots of the elm tree he stood beside. So the description of David's father, it tells us that he was a very poor man. He came a very poor family because the clothes and except the that also it tells us that he was not an educated person, as he knows that he goes to such a place, maybe he could change his clothes to a better one, or maybe he was such a poor guy he doesn't have any other clothes. In any case, it's to tell us that uh, existing David's father in that situation was something abnormal. That's why the students, they laughed and punched each other, because it was something uh, abnormal to have such a guy in that place. The other girls and boys, all they were clean, they well dressed, and beside them in a corner there is a big man that has such kind of clothes. Yani, just look. Uh, his coat was from sheepskin. His boots, they were very big. Uh, the socks, they were very heavy, and they were even stuck above where the tops of the boot. And his overall is a type of the clothes that covers the whole body. Uh, the part of that covers the legs were baggy and wrinkled, yani گورش بوا و چرچولوچیش بوا. Imagine. So his blue work shirt showed at the collar. قمیسە شینەکەشی لە ملیوانەکەیەوە دەرکەوت بوو. کڵاوێکی گەورەی لەسەرا بووە. يعني رخساري, his face was hard and weather tanned. رخساري ئەو کەسانی سەرما و گەرمە ئەوەنە رخساری سەرما و گەرمە ئەوەنە لاوێتی لە رخساریان بڵێن پێستیان گۆڕاوە، یعنی ئەو پێستە نەرمووینە نەماوە، ئەستور بۆ پێستیان، و ئەڵێ وەکو ڕەنگی ئەو داسەشی لاتبوو کە ئینەکانیان پێوراین ڕەنگێکی مەیلۆ ژەنگایی وەرگرتەوە، دەستەکانیشی وەکو ڕێشکی ئەو دارەی کە لە بنیاوە سابوو وشکەڵاتە بوون و ڕق و وشکەڵات بوون، گەورەش بوون. Yani the description, it tells us that it was like an شتێکی abnormal بووە. When they went to the first class, actually Professor Herbert took Lester to the class. The students, they asked who is that guy, and the students later they knew that he was David's father. Yani. Here we would have something else. Yani, at noon in the high school cafeteria, Pa and Professor Herbert sat together at the little table where Professor Herbert always ate by himself. They ate together. The students watched the way Pa ate. He ate with his knife instead of his fork. Yani, just imagine eating with a different person. Usually we do not eat with strange people. When we eat together, it means we are friends. So when Pa and Professor, they have dinner together on the same table and they discuss and they speak together, it means what? It means the relationship is now going to be very close. Yani, the situation that we started with, Kateka, he threatens Professor. Now it's changed. They are friends. They eat together on the same table. Always Professor Herbert, he ate alone, yani just by himself. Actually, the students, when they watched the way Pa ate, because he ate very differently, because he didn't he ate with his knife instead of his fork. Maybe because he never saw a fork. That's why he used the knife instead of the fork. Anyway, but the situation here, it tells us that the relationship between Pa and Professor is very close, and they are going to be friends. Dave here, he tells us that I wasn't ashamed of Pa after I found out he wasn't going to shoot Professor Herbert. If you remember from the previous parts, Dave didn't want his father to come to school, and his father thought that Dave is ashamed of him. He's ashamed that he has such a poor man, such a poor father. But here we see that Dave never ashamed of his father. Especially here he tells us that I wasn't ashamed, as I know that he was not going to kill Professor. He's my father, and he said that he's my father, and I wasn't ashamed of him. Later afternoon, they had the biology class. Professor took him to the biology class, and he took him to the microscope to show him the germs on his teeth, and he told him how to do it, how to look at the microscope. So Pa put his head down and did as Professor Herbert said. I see him, says Pa. Who it ever thought that? Right on a body's teeth, right in a body's mouth. You're right, certainly. Aunt, no fake to this, Professor Herbert. So when he used the microscope and he saw that, yes, that's right, there are germs on his teeth. So he said that you are right. And he never thought, thought that there would be germs on his teeth. And he told him, yes, there are, and he explained that there are harmful and useful germs on our bodies. And he told him that there are a lot of germs, but we can't see them by our naked eyes. We have to use a tool like microscope to watch them, to see them on any tools. We also in the class they had what to show him that there are germs on other things. What he said, we have a big black snake over here we caught yesterday. We will chloroform him and dissect him and show you he has germs in his body too. So he wanted to put the snake into sleep and dissect it, means like to a karib cut, and to tell him that there are germs on a snake's body. Paul loved animals so much because he spent most of his life with animals. So that don't do it. I believe you. I just don't want to see you kill the black snake. I never kill one. So look how he loves animals. And like a snake. Insects like a snake one. Because what he said, they are good mousers and a lot of help to us on the farm. Yani they kill mouses and they help us on the farm. So I don't want to see that you kill a snake. So here it's to show us in the previous pages, mostly the narrator, or let's say the story, is narrated in a way that we don't like Pa, because Pa is an old-fashioned way. He has an old-fashioned way of thinking. But I'm now here step by step. As he is changing, and the narrator shows us some positive aspects of Luster as well. So when he said, I don't want you to kill the snake, the students looked at Pa. They seemed to like him better after he said that. Pa with a gun in his pocket, but a tender heart beneath his ribs for snakes, but not for man. Pa won't whip a mule at home. He won't whip his cattle. Pa always, he loved animals. He loved snakes and these kind of things, and he never whipped them, because what he said, always he said, man can defend himself, but cattle and mules can't. That's why you don't have to whip them. Anyway, after finishing the biology class, it was the last class of the day. Dave took the broom and to sweep the floor and to finish the rest of the hours, which he has 2 hours to finish. When Professor Herbert saw that Dave got the broom and started sweeping the floor, he told him that you can go home with your father, you can do it some other time. And he went to his father. What his father, imagine what he said. Then how he was changed from a man that he came to school to kill Professor Herbert just because he made his son to stay for 2 hours late. But now what he said, aren't you got 2 hours sweeping yet to do? Yani he's asking his son, you have 2 hours still to sweep the floor, so how you can come with me? What he said, Dave? Professor Herbert said I could do it some other time. He said for me to go home with you. And look how he's changed it. No, says Pa. You are going to do as he says. He's a good man. School has changed from my day and time. I am a dead leaf, Dave. I am behind. I don't belong here. So it's like here we have a confession from Dave's father that he was not a man of this time. He's confessing that he's behind. I am a dead leaf. I am a dead leaf, yani here is a metaphor that he's comparing himself to a dead leaf. A dead leaf actually is the one that falls down from the tree. So he as if he's saying that I am not useful for this community, for the society. I am dead. I am a dead person. I am behind. So it's like confessing, and he tells him that you have to do your 2 hours of work. Look how this change is the result of what? Discussing, conversation, and argument together on this issue. Imagine that if Professor did the same thing like Luster. What happened? Of course, a fight between them would come up. But Dave, Professor Herbert, as he represents the modern education, he's not doing that. He wants to argue, he wants to solve the issues from arguments and conversation and speaking. And he was very successfully through using the technique of speaking and conversation. He changed his mind, and he showed everything in the school. And it is our nature actually. When we don't know things, when we don't know about things, we don't like them. We don't like it, or sometimes we judge on something in a wrong way because we don't have any idea about that thing. The same as like David's father did. He judged on Professor Herbert because he didn't have any idea about the issue and about the Professor Herbert. That's why he had a wrong perspective about it. But when he comes to the school and Professor Herbert showed him everything, of course he would change his mind. So that's why here we have what? A confession from the Pa. And Professor, what he said, I'm going to cancel the debt. I just want you to go home. What I did, it was just to tell you, to understand the situation, Luster. But Luster, what he said, I understand. I know that school changed. I know you are right. I know you did something good for to my boy, to my son. And he has to pay his debt for the tree. And I'm going to help him. Professor, but still he tries to not let them do that. Don't do that. It's all on me. And I pay the money. You just go home. You don't need to work. But Pa is such a good man. What he says, look, we don't do things like that, says Pa. We are just and honest people. We don't want something for nothing. Yani, whatever we take, we take it for something. You paid for us, so we have to work. It's not in our like culture. It's not something we accept it. When you pay for us, we have to. It should be paid for something, and we don't take something for nothing. When you pay something, we have to give something. You pay the money, we have to work. So the work, we have 2 hours of the work, so we have to finish the 2 hours. And here what is it? You are wrong now and I am right, and I have to finish my part. What he said, I have learned a lot from you. My boy must go on. The world has left me. Again, he is confessing that the world has left him because he does not belong to this age. And actually, he changed his mind, and maybe he does not belong to this time or this age because he never came to school. He never came out of his village. Always he was with the animals, and he didn't have any idea about the school. But from now on, maybe he would change his mind. And what he said, we said that we are honest people. We don't accept that is. When you pay for us, we have to work for it. Professor Herbert, he went home. Pa and Dave, they started sweeping the floor. Dave said that it was something very funny that I saw my pa was cleaning and using sweepers, because he never used brooms at home, because it was my mom's duty. He always used the plow. And what he told him, Dave, he told him that Professor Herbert can get a warrant out for you for bringing your pistol to the school, and he can do what? Railroad you for that. The police can railroad you. Yani get a warrant, yani amri girtinit bobene, and they can railroad you. They can put you in prison for bringing a gun into the school. It was actually, Dave knew that Professor Herbert is not doing something like that. It is maybe he wants to tell his father that how Professor Herbert is a good guy. He can do this, but he wouldn't. He can put you in prison, but he wouldn't. He can get a warrant out for you, but he wouldn't. So Dave also knows that Professor Herbert is not doing something like that. Balam is to tell his father that how he's a good guy, how he's a good man. Balam Lester also he's sure that Professor Herbert is not doing something like that. What he said, that's all made right. I have made that right. Professor Herbert aren't going to take it to the court. He likes me, I like him. So the result of the struggle between old-fashioned way of thinking and modern way of thinking, it is as if the modern way of thinking is winning the game, we can say, because Professor Herbert, as represented that way of thinking, used a very effective technique, and that was discussing and conversation and letting him to know about the school, the issue, about a lot of things, because sometimes people, they hate something just because they don't have any idea about that. Lester, he didn't like school because he didn't have any idea about school. He hated Professor because he didn't know Professor. So now, after the conversation and speaking together and doing all these kind of things, now he was sure that Professor Herbert, he was sure that Lester accepted that he is behind. And as he confessed that, also here he confesses again that I am behind Dave. I am a little man. Imagine, as Dave physically he was very big, but when he said I am a little man, maybe he refers to mentally he's a little man, because he's a little man because he didn't have any idea about school. He was a little man because he thought that gun always can solve the problems. He's a little man because always he thought that physical punishment is the best way to teach his son. But now he is confessing that he was strong. Your hands will be softer than mine. Your clothes will be better than mine. You'll always is the word for always actually, look cleaner than your old pal. Just remember, Dave, to pray your debtors and be honest. Balam, yani, beside these kind of things that he had an old-fashioned way of thinking, but he had positive aspects. Look, here Professor Herbert told them that you can go home. Balam, he didn't accept the debt. What he said, the advice is for his son, pay your debts and be honest. These are two very positive aspects of his family actually, and of David's father. And also be kind to animals. Don't bother the snakes. Only he had this opinion about the only negative opinion about the school was killing the snakes. That he said putting black snakes to sleep and cutting them open. It was the only negative aspect that he saw in the school. So it was very late. They went home. Look here when they go home together with his father, how he describes the night. Stars were in the sky. The moon was up. The ground was frozen. But imagine the previous day when he went home very late. If you remember, I think he didn't describe such kind of things, the weather, the situation, but now he described the situation because here now he is happy. He's happy for what? Because his father changed it, totally changed it. His mind, his thinking, his perspective, everything is changed. I couldn't run like I did the night before. The night before actually he ran very quickly because he was afraid of his father's punishment. But now he's with his father, so he doesn't need to run quickly. So when they got home, Pa sat before the fire and told Mom he was going to take her and show her a germ sometime. How he's changed. The morning when he left home as if, and he took his gun to threaten a man, let's say to kill a man for doing something wrong. But at the end, when he comes back home, we would see a totally different man. This time he's not just accepting what Professor Herbert said. He said that take her and show her a germ sometime, and he take David's mom and show her some of the germs. Mom hadn't seen one either. Pat told her about the high school and the fine man Professor Herbert was. He told Mom about the strange school across the hill and how different it was from the school in their day and time. So this is the end of the school, the short story, and we see that Lester, David's father, he's totally changed from an old-fashioned way of thinking man, not actually to be a modern like thinking, but he's changed. We see that he confessed that he's behind. He's not belonging to this age, to this time. And as we see at the end of the story, maybe he wouldn't be like before with Evan Dave, because always he used physical punishment when he saw something wrong in Dave. But we would see that maybe he wouldn't be like before with Evan Dave. And this is the end of the story. I hope it was useful, the recording, and inshallah tomorrow in the class, if you have any question, I will be there to answer you, and would be very happy to have any question from you. Have a nice time.